All right, once again, this is another CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I am your host, Nick Quaglia, with Marv, Ezhan, and Mike Molyneaux. All right, Minnesota Vikings, New England Patriots. Pretty big game. It was a schedule that it was a game that was circled on the schedule at the beginning of the season, and I would say that it lived up to somewhat expectations. I'd say both teams are kind of not exactly what expectations were at the beginning of the season. But guys, general reaction, what do you see? What did you see with the Patriots last night? Do you see any positive signs with the Patriots? Do you see any negative signs with the Patriots? Mike, we'll start with you.
Obviously, last night, if you watched that game and you saw the score, you wouldn't have probably thought the Patriots took on the Minnesota Vikings because you figured the Vikings would put out more than 10 points. So a lot of credit with that score has to go to the Patriots defense. And I'm very pleased with what I saw, especially from the secondary, the way they covered guys like Diggs, guys like Thielen. A lot of good tackling took place. And, that's what you want to see. Obviously, again, when the Patriots take on these high-powered offenses, that's when you want your defense to step up and make a statement. Now, I'm not going to go as far as saying that game was a statement game, but I do feel it was a solid win. It was a necessary win against a very solid opponent. Now, obviously, Minnesota is not as good as they were last year, but they still have playmakers on that offense. And this is the test for the Patriots. They need these kind of tests if they want to be considered one of the top teams in the NFL and the AFC. Again, Minnesota's no New Orleans Saints. They're no Los Angeles Rams. They're no Kansas City Chiefs. But it's still a team that you have to fear that they could possibly come in and put up big points. But Patriots did exactly what I thought they would do, and that's defend home field. If this game was in Minnesota, now we're talking about a whole different situation. But the Patriots did exactly what they thought they were going to do, and that's defend home field and get the win.
24-10 final score. Again, I mean, Minnesota Vikings, they're a team that's very confusing to me because every single week, despite their record, they have so many offensive weapons. Kirk Cousins, I don't know what he's an enigma to me because I feel like he's much better than he is, and every week he kind of disappoints me. And the defense too. It's people I think are attached to the defense from last year. The defense clearly isn't the same, but you still feel like they're serviceable and they're pretty, I guess, decent. They're a decent defense. Marv, what do you think out of what's your reaction to last night's game? Negatives, positives.
Well, first of all, on your Kirk Cousins thing, he's average. He's not as good as you think he is. Kirk Cousins been what his numbers have shown he's been, what his records has been. He's a guy that's going to maybe get you to the wild card, if that, and then he's not going to get you any further than that. That's what Kirk Cousins is. They paid him all this money to try to bring him to the next step, which is the Super Bowl, and that's clearly not going to happen. But about this game, I loved it. I thought this was one of the better Patriots games of the season. Honestly, I know the Green Bay Packers game, people might say that might have been the most complete game, but I think this one against the Vikings, offensive weapons, you have Thielen and Diggs, which I think is probably the second best, or you could argue the best wide receiver duo next to the Steelers. And they pretty much handled them perfectly. Mike said it best. The tackling of the Patriots secondary was great. That's been their struggle all years, letting players get yards after the catch or carries, and they really tackled well. Diggs and Thielen, I don't even think they combined for 100 yards. Thielen only had like 3 catches during the game. He's been unbelievable,
I think you're right.
Unbelievable this year with probably having the best wide receiver output numbers this year. And J.C. Jackson, a guy who's come out of nowhere and really made a name for himself this game. This was a breakout game for him when you stopped and Thielen twice in the end zone, and that's something to look forward to. And then you bring in your secret weapon, James Devlin. 2 touchdowns from James Devlin carrying the ball.
Yep.
It was, Patriots really utilized every single body in this game. I think Brady threw the ball to 9 different pass receivers this game. So they're really starting to open up the playbook. I thought the first half was mediocre offensive wise. If Josh McDaniels is going to play call like that, Aaron Rodgers will be ignoring him too.
Listen, I'm with you on the offense. The first drive with the Patriots, with the ball, it looked like the old Patriots. It looked like a team that was just going to carve you up and down the field. It was an excellent drive. But then after that, it slowed down a ton. But the second half, they utilized Josh Gordon more. And Josh Gordon, to me, was the key for the offense because Tom Brady finally had a target there. The offense overall, though, it's still very tepid to me. It's very lukewarm. It's not the Patriots that we know. It's not a Tom Brady run offense that we know. Defensively, though, that was a hell of a game. It's weird. This Patriots defense is very strange this year because when they go up against teams that they should beat, it's like they don't show up. But then when they go against teams like this, and I'm still going to give the Vikings offense credit. I think they're very good to shut down a team that has Dalvin Cook in the backfield, Stephon Diggs, and Adam Thielen. That's a tall task, and the Patriots really handled that well yesterday. I mean, Adam Thielen leading the league in receptions this year only had 28 yards. So he was so frustrated that he was yelling at Bill Belichick until Bill Belichick buried him in a grave by telling him to shut the F up. I mean, the defense overall, it was a hell of a showing. And then we're starting to see somebody that we got excited about, I'd say, over the offseason, J.C. Jackson. I think J.C. Jackson is developing into something pretty nice that I think we're going to be very happy with here in the future. But the pass rush, the defensive backs, overall, the defense was it was excellent. Back to the offense, though, it worries me. It does, because what are the expectations here in New England? Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely.
I don't care if I do want to. You obviously want the team to get back to the Super Bowl, but if you're going to be in the Super Bowl, you want to win the Super Bowl. I'm tired of watching the Patriots lose Super Bowls, and as selfish as that sounds, I am tired of the Patriots losing Super Bowls. If they're going to win, their offense is going to have to step it up a little bit. They're just going to have to. One of the guys who is going to have to step up is Rob Gronkowski. We've seen. It's not the same guy this year. It's just not. He's been battling back injuries, ankle injuries. He's had 6 back surgeries over his career. He's been a topic all season. He's just not the same guy that he used to be. The best part about him this year is just his presence, just the fact that he's out there. Because no matter what, no matter how slow he is, if he's not getting that separation, because he's not, then people, they're gonna double team him. They're gonna focus on him. That's just somebody else they have to watch. So that gives Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon time to get open. But you still need Gronk if you're going to be successful, especially with a 41-year-old Tom Brady. I know they won the Super Bowl without him before people chirp me about that. But this season, especially with an aging Tom Brady, you need Rob Gronkowski to be better than what he has been. So, guys, just to stray away from that game a little bit, though, talk Rob Gronkowski real quick. Do you think that do you think that Gronk is going to get better this season at all? Do you think we've seen peak Rob Gronkowski? And then just follow it up with that. Do you think Rob Gronkowski is done? Do you think he comes back next season? Marv, we'll start with you. What do you think?
After every game, it seems like Mike and I always dissect Rob Gronkowski's performance on the Patriots post-game show. And what I've been saying all year is this is what you're going to get from Rob Gronkowski. You're going to get 3 to 5 catches a game, 50 yards, and you hope it comes with a touchdown. That's what you're gonna get out of him. He's no longer the guy who's gonna get high volume, 7+ catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's not Gronk no more. You mentioned it, Nick. The injuries, he's slowed down, and it's not his fault. He's still giving 100% effort out there. You say he needs to play better. I don't know if he can play any better. He's still vital into the run game.
2 touchdowns this year. 2 touchdowns. And a lot of holding penalties yesterday, by the way.
It's disappointing. Gronk didn't have a great game with the holding, but you can't teach 6'6", 260. You can't teach that. It's still important to have. He's still going to draw attention. You're still going to get times maybe in the playoffs where, he's going to be a guy you focus on more. So I think Gronk, this is not his best year. Obviously, this is his worst year of his career, but it's not as bad as we're making it seem. We're just so used to him being superhuman that now he is, offensively as a pass catcher, a 3 to 5 catch guy. And that's what it's going to be moving forward.
Mike, what do you think?
Obviously, this year is not the best Rob Gronkowski we've seen, but, in a sense, I'm fine with it because the Patriots have weapons. And if there's one thing I've asked for Tom Brady to have over the years, is just let the man have options, let him have weapons. And this is a year where Patriots and Tom Brady has that between Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, James White, Hogan once in a while stepping up. Cordell Patterson has found his role. If his name is called upon, Philip Dorsett can be involved. There's a lot of different options. So it's not necessary for Rob Gronkowski to be, the top guy in terms of options for Tom Brady. So, yes, it's not the greatest Rob Gronkowski, but he's just fitting into the his role in the system that the Patriots have this year. Each year is different. You know, you never know the makeup of the team. This year, obviously, Rob Gronkowski's playing a reduced role, whether it be injuries or the options. You know, it just hasn't been his greatest season. With that being said, I honestly am starting to feel like, you know, Gronkowski will get through this year, and he may just have one more year in him before he maybe calls it quits. This is a guy who's just been beat up over the years, and I'm not even talking about since he's been in a Patriots uniform. He's dealt with a lot of stuff even coming out of college, you know, back issues. You know, he had the elbow issue, knee issue, a lot of different stuff has gone on with Rob Gronkowski. And this man he's not even 30. He's not even 30, and his body is taking a beating. You know, each year he's in the league, there's always the topic of discussion of Rob Gronkowski's health. You know, there hasn't been too many seasons where we haven't had that discussion. So I don't know how much more he can give. And it's not even that he probably lost his desire to play or he can't do it anymore, but his body at the age of, what is he, 28 years old, around 29? There? 29, his body is taking a constant beating. And, you know, it could be a situation where obviously he's taking that beating and he can't do it anymore, but also mentally, it probably hurts him to know that he cannot play up to the level that he's known for. This is a guy that's been considered by many as one of the greatest tight ends to ever play. But he won't have the career as Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, these guys who played into their mid to late 30s and were still pretty successful. That's not going to be the story of Rob Gronkowski. I'd be shocked. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen. Maybe Rob Gronkowski can get right and stay healthy and have a decent career for the next couple of years. But at the rate he's going, I don't know how much longer this guy can be on the football field.
You know what was a telltale sign for me yesterday? Rob Gronkowski catch just about the first down marker. He got stood up. Old Rob Gronkowski, he lowers his shoulder and he drives that defensive back backwards. But he got stood up. Actually, excuse me, I'm not sure if it was defensive back. The Vikings defender, whoever it was, it shouldn't matter, stood him up and prevented him from getting that first down. I just don't see him as being that physical beast, that physical specimen that he used to be, because that's what made Gronk Gronk. He was an absolute beast. He was somebody that teams could not control. They couldn't handle. You put the ball up, he's going to come down with it because he's going to out-muscle you. And that also goes in the reason as to why his career hasn't lasted as long, because he's such a physical specimen. He's such a beast that teams are going after his knees. Teams are going after his head. We remember last year in the AFC Championship game where he got drilled in the head and taken out of the game. That's just how people have to take him down. And that's realistically, that's what shortened his career. This is the Gronk that we're going to get. Marv, I'm totally with you. This is the Gronk that we are absolutely going to get for the rest of the year. I don't see any improvement with him. And as of next year, I think this is his last year. I think the guy is way too beat up. I've always said once his back acts up again, that is it. 6 back surgeries. You do not want to screw with your back. I heard Troy Brown say this on the Sports Up 98.5 in Boston. I forget what show it is. I apologize for that. But you got to think about your quality of life after the game. The guy's 29 years old, 6 back surgeries. You got to think about the quality of life after the game. He's already made so much money, right? He's already made so much money. Why not? You're going to have to pack it up soon, or you're just going to be living a horrible life afterwards with knee. You're already going to be in a lot of pain. You might as well minimize that as much as possible right now. Rob Gronkowski, not having the greatest year. I think he's personally done after this season.